Americans, and we're all part of the American family.
Hard to disagree with that, but once the hot dogs and pie are gone, how is Congress going to work together to get important business done? Joining us now from Capitol Hill are two congressmen who were at the picnic last night, Democrat Peter Welch of Vermont and Republican Chaffetz of Utah. Good morning, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I will assume because the two of you are standing together, the picnic went well yesterday?
Yeah, they got great corn dogs, I got to tell you. The White House knows how to make a corn dog.
I had a burger. It was pretty good.
Well, I had both.
You're entitled. You do a lot of work. You might as well eat well. I want to talk to you about some serious business, of course, though. Last night's gathering aside, major gridlock in Congress right now. The parties can't agree on a debt ceiling. I know Medicare is obviously still a stagnant issue. Congressman Chaffetz, I'll pose this question to you first. How long until the American public sees some real progress there?
Well, these things are supposed to be contentious. We're supposed to have a vigorous debate. I like what Speaker Boehner actually said at the beginning of our session, at least to the House Republicans. He said, we may disagree, but let's not be disagreeable. And I think where people have really gotten themselves into trouble in this body is when they've been made personal attacks. But I think you can see the two of us standing side by side, we can get together on very important issues. We happen to be together, for instance, on Afghanistan and Libya and those types of issues. So it is difficult, but we can't make it personal. You got to keep focused on the issues.
Congressman Welch, the general public, I think, sees that along the lines of what Congressman Chaffetz just said. It does get a little too personal at times. I know that's very off-putting to the American public.
Well, you know, it really does. And I come out of state politics where our legislatures are much smaller in many ways and where there's much more direct interaction constantly between the Republicans and the Democrats. And I was Senate president, and we had 23 Democrats and 7 Republicans, and I appointed 3 Republicans to chair committees. That would never happen down here. And it wasn't because I was a good guy. It was because we needed the input, and we needed to have the confidence of the Vermont voters, and we need this in the country, where if we do things together, especially on these contentious issues that Jason mentioned, if we do it together, people get the sense we got it more right than wrong, and that what we got wrong we'll be willing to make right. So I'd like to see us be able to do a little bit more of that, and it's been terrific working with Jason, and I've had many of his Republican colleagues that I've found common ground with as well.
And let me just add, I think that the best legislation that moves forward is going to be bipartisan. It will be the strongest, it will last the longest, and it will be the most viable.
So when is the point where that happens a little bit more frequently? I mean, right now your Congress approval rating is only at 18%,
and going down.
And going down, exactly. But is that a fair assessment? I mean, when people look at Congress and say, you know, 8 out of 10 people, for the most part, are saying, I don't agree with what they're doing or how they're doing it. Is it a fair assessment, do you feel?
Well, I don't think it's totally fair. Here's the thing. Most of what gets reported is the conflict. And what is less reported is the more quiet work that folks like Jason and others are doing to try to find some common ground on the issues a little bit below the major points of contention. But bottom line, on something like the budget on health care, we have to have a sustainable budget. It means we have to find some common ground. On health care, we have to have it be more affordable. And oftentimes there's a big difference in emphasis between the Republicans and Democrats. And you look hard, there's some common ground there where we can make progress.
Congressman Chaffetz, I'm going to direct this to you first, and then Congressman Welch, you can step in. I want to highlight the debt ceiling here for a moment before I let the two of you go. This is coming down to the wire. We're seeing what's happening globally, i.e. what's happening in Greece as recently as this week. Are we setting ourselves up for a similar situation where if a resolution doesn't happen very quickly, things could get very bad for this country?
Well, I know that Speaker Boehner has called upon us to do this in the month of June, and there are ongoing talks. I know Eric Cantor is meeting continuously with the Vice President Biden and that group. I hope there can be progress there. I'm proud of the fact that Speaker Boehner allowed a so-called clean debt ceiling vote to come before the House. I think we showed that there was broad bipartisan support in opposition to that, that clearly there have to be some major changes to the cuts in spending, and I think that's the trajectory in which we're headed right now.
Congressman Welch, give you the last word. Go ahead.
Well, I think we're playing with fire here on the debt ceiling. Basically, does America pay its bills? And of course, the answer is yes. And we have to do what's required to maintain the full faith and credit America's always enjoyed. Now, let's negotiate, because Jason's right. We have to have a long-term fiscal plan, but we can't default on our debts.
All right. Congressman Peter Welch and Jason Chaffetz, thank you both very much. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
That was great.
See, there you go.
Nice little moment at the end.
They really do like each
A
other.
little snapshot in history. We need to freeze that, and the next time there is some real
Perhaps we should
contentious
send
arguments
it
going on.
around Capitol Hill today.
The old handshake.
Maybe worth a shot. Chris, thank you.
See that?
Jeff Glor at the news desk with another look at the other headlines this morning.
Hey guys, listen.